This is not only is it a classic arcade game, but this is the first arcade game, not the first arcade game I ever owned, which is funny that Jeff is in the chat tonight because Jeff and I went in on halves. Jeff split the cost of my very first arcade game with me, which was Elevator Action was the first arcade game I ever bought. But Mania was the second arcade game I ever bought and the first arcade game I ever bought at an auction. And later on, when we take a break between rounds, I will show you some pictures of my old, I think I only have one actually. I'm going to show you a picture of my old Mania cabinet. Traditionally, if you guys have tuned into other streams, you will know that I like to play Commodore 64 games with an Epix joystick. I do believe it is the greatest joystick, even though I could not get it to go diagonal the other day accurately, and so I did really terrible in Super Mario Brothers with the Epix joystick. But for arcade games, we need more buttons and we need a bigger joystick. We need a better joystick, and so I will show you before we get started my arcade joystick. I'm sure other people that will be joining later will ask, and I'll be showing this again. But this is actually not an arcade stick. This is a PlayStation controller. This is a Namco PlayStation controller, and the name of this model is Namco Joy Space Stick. And so this is a stick, if you like arcade games, that will bring you much joy. The name is right on the back down there at the bottom. You can see it says Joy Space Stick. So this was a controller for the PS1. It says copyright 1996 on the back. And let me see if the cable, I know the cable for the controller is long enough. Let's see if the cable for the adapter is long enough. It is not. But if you could see over here where you cannot see, I have a very simple PS2, or not PS2, I guess it is PS2 actually, I think it does, but it is a PlayStation 2 USB adapter, which I found one time at a thrift store for 99 cents. And so the the Namco PlayStation control pad is plugged into the adapter. The adapter is plugged into the computer. I'm plugged into Twitch. You guys are plugged into the channel. Let's get started bashing some heads in on Mania. Now, I'm terrible at being able to check the stream while it's going. So I see Chris Albright. I see LM Orchard. It's just, all this show is just me butchering people's names. So welcome to the channel tonight, guys. I know there'll be some more people dropping in shortly, but let's go ahead and get started with Mania, which I have paused here in MAME. I'm going to double check my levels here and see what this sounds like. That is way loud to me. Let's turn this down. Let's turn desktop audio up. That looks like it should be about right. If this is too loud or not loud enough, somebody holler out and let me know. It looks like around 40 dB looks to be about a good level. So, Mania, and by the way, if you are, you can watch me play, but if you're not familiar with Mania, you might also want to watch the interesting people in the crowd. There are lots of famous people in the crowd back there, which we will be talking about. Oh, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, right there's Darth Vader, among other people. So, let's get started with Mania. Like all MAME games, we're going to put a quarter in. We got the controller, which, by the way, is also the world's loudest clicky controller, which is the way I like it. Lots of switches in here. Our first opponent is Insane Warrior. So we're going to use a technique that I have been using. Oh my gosh. That was a bad start. I'm much better at this game. Oh my gosh. There's something wrong with the controller. It's sticking. Mania, there was a convenience store near my house, and there are other joysticks, but it's kind of like standing near Mount Fuji and saying, are there other mountains? I mean, technically, yes, but, you know, not while you're there. So there's really no reason. You know, I suppose, you know, with a, oh, that was not fair. So all you gotta do is, oh boy. The problem is, all right, oh, the problem is I'm not paying attention. It's the big problem. All right, let's get this guy down. I think he's too far away. There we go. Now, we're just gonna dump on him a few times. We could get 3 of those in before he gets up. Let's pin him. That was 3. 2. So the goal of this game is to work your way through all the opponents and then eventually win the belt. This is Karate Fighter. Each one of these wrestlers is based on real fighters that were in wrestling at the time, but of course they did not want to use licenses. And this guy looks exactly like an old wrestler whose name was Kabuki, who was one of my favorites. Let's see if, nope. There's no way to get down off the turnbuckle without jumping. Dumb move on my part. So the thing is that this is a 3D game in a way. Let's see if I got it. Yeah, there we go. Let's throw him the other way here. I might have enough. Yep. So if you could get those in, they're in trouble. There's Darth Vader, and I believe that's Bruce Lee right in front of Darth Vader up there. And ZZ Top is over on the other side. We'll see ZZ Top. There's Popeye in the front row. There's all kinds of goofy characters in the crowd. This is Coco Savage. You can see that the word savage is infamously misspelled in this game. This was I believe a Japanese, well, it's Taito, but it was a Japanese developed. Oh, Coco Savage is beating my head in. Come on, Savage. This isn't really a problem right now in games. Let's see, we'll just counter him. Oh, wrong button. To be honest with you, I mostly play this with a keyboard when I'm playing it, but I thought I'd break out the... Okay, Savage. I'm in trouble all of a sudden. I don't have too many beatings like that left in me. So anyway, what I was saying... so you can counter his little... Oh, better kick out of that if I can. Oh boy, I'm in trouble. In trouble early in the game. That's going to be it. I think if he wraps this up, I'm in trouble. I'm dead already. That's terrible showing, because I could play this game for an hour without dying. Oh boy. I don't feel like I need to be taunted by Doink the Clown there. Alright, well, we are obviously not putting our initials in because that was a terrible go. It's not even asking me for my initials. Oh yeah, I guess it is there. Who cares? I'm not putting our initials on that. Alright, let's go get the belt real quick. Let's quit all this jibber jabbering and get to some wrestling. Bum bum bum. Psh. So when I was a kid, this game is a 1985 game. I don't remember when the exact date was, but sometime after 1985, obviously, the convenience store near my house got a copy of, they got a Mania machine. And the way that my neighborhood was set up is that there was literally... There we go. He should kick out of this. It's really too early for that, but that's a good way to counter that move. Alright, let's do a little pile driver. Oh, let's do a little rope action here. Let's scoot back over here. Let's get him up here by this turnbuckle. So it takes 3 hits in a row to stun your opponent, but you can keep moving in a 2-dimensional plane. You can move up and down, so I can move up, and he can keep walking into my shots, which is really the easiest way. It's kind of like the old Double Dragon reverse elbow. Once you have that move, if you can do that consistently, you are indefeatable. Oh my gosh. Boom! Slammed. Powerbomb. So there was nowhere you could go from my neighborhood in walking distance. The closest place other than this convenience store was like 2 or 3 miles away. So it was the convenience store or nothing. And so my friends and I would ride our skateboards and bicycles and later my go-kart up to the convenience store where we would drop quarters into Mania. Now that is not the only machine. Well, at the time, I think that might have been the only machine they had. All right, I got to do this. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Get back over here. Drop a little. I don't know if I can pin him yet, but we'll try here. Yeah, I didn't think so. No. There we go. So that move's good for keeping him near the corner. We get our shots in here. So my friends and I would go to the convenience store and we would take our little quarters and take $1 and get you back then $1 would get you a 20-ounce drink and a candy bar of some kind, Reese's Pieces or something. I gotta pay more attention on Coco Savage. Coco Savage is one that will he'll get you in trouble. Once he starts giving you the old forearm bash, you can't really take any chances with this guy. He ends up locking you up and you can't do anything. Oh, and also these guys, usually the 3rd time that you try to do that, they'll break out of it. So, all right, let's see if we could get him close enough here now. So the best technique on that, I just hold. Oh, is that? There we go. I can't pin him yet, but again, when he throws you into that, there's not a lot of good choices. I really didn't want to do that. Let's do that. That should keep him long enough for us to get in our 3 shots. And once we've hit him 3 times, we should be able to pin him. Hooray! There's that ZZ Top in the left. There's a guy with a shirt that says ZZ. And to move now. And then a guy next to him, his shirt says Top. They're standing right in front of Superman. That's an easy way to spot him. This is the Piranha. It's supposed to be the Piranha, but it's also misspelled. Taito made some great games, but they did not do a lot of great spelling. Later on, as the stream goes on, I will be putting on my luchador mask as we beat up Piranha. Hey, it's Pinback in the house. The Flavor Flav to my Chuck D. How are you doing, sir? I hear things going on. Yes, that is right. I just saw in the chat the Japanese version before it was translated has the Insane Warrior, which, I mean, if you're in the ring with this guy, you will definitely be worrying. Pinback, you have to tell me what your amazing things do whenever they make sounds, because I don't always know what's going on. I'm trying to watch the stream and the game and the chat, and as everybody knows, my brain can only do one thing at a time, and this has me doing 4. Now we're going for the title. If I win the title, I will get the luchador mask, and we will go from there. This is Golden Hulk, who is not I always thought, I mean, as a kid, I thought he was supposed to be, you know, obviously a parody or homage to Hulk Hogan, but it's not. It's a different guy who is very popular in Japanese wrestling. His name is escaping me, which is why I'm mumbling and stalling for time. But 12th favorite show. All right, just for that, I'm not going to give you back all the money that you give me. Oh, hey, what's up? Retro Gaming Bygones. Oh my gosh, new follower. Well, welcome to the show. This is a show where normally what I do is play games very terribly. What's up, Mr. Amigo Aaron? Yes, I know that this is your game. So I was just talking about how I used to play this at the convenience store near my house, and I played it so much. All right. Bad news for you, Hulk. 2. All right, pin back. Hang on for a second. Because we got something important going on that's just about to happen here. I hope you're still in the chat, Panner. All right, hang on here. First, we're going to get the belt. Is that Miss Elizabeth? And oh, a little kissy. All right, now that we're the champion, we've got to switch roles. Now that we're the champion, wow, that really hurts my face. Now that I have earbuds in, I forgot about that. Well, that was not a good idea. The pain I go through. By the way, there's no way I can read anything in the chat without these. All right, things are going bad. Out of control. Oh, Coco Savage is coming. I can't see the glasses. Oh my gosh, this is a bad idea. Why did I do that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, Mania is not a good game on the 7800. Oh my gosh. Come on, Coco. Yeah, see that forearm bash, when he starts doing that, you get in trouble. If you could see, my face right now is like silly putty in this stupid mask. I mean, I can't see anything. My chin is going numb. Oh, the all reversal. Come on now. Come on, Coco. Come on, Coco Beware. I mean, Coco Savage. Alright, let's get him come back over here. Yeah. Now, that's the thing is, he does that little trick where, oh no, I waited too long. The problem is I cannot see. Oh my gosh. Hey, what's up, Luke? This is what grown men do. This is what you can aspire to do someday. Oh no, I've lost it all. Masks are for winners, not losers. Aaron, I added some stuff just for you tonight. Oh, powerbomb, baby! Wait, where's my one for this? Wah, wah. Oh man, I know the rain is over. Hey, while I've got that up, let me pull this up here. So, in the mid-1990s were an amazing time if you were into, if you wanted to own an arcade game, because there was this window of time, and that's life is, I have all these stories about windows of time where, for example, there was a window of time when retro computers and old video game consoles were absolutely worthless. And that window is because people were getting rid of their old stuff. They didn't want to play those old, a lot of people didn't want to play those old systems, but there wasn't eBay. So you got that little window where The Apple, I have an Apple II, a vintage Apple II Plus hanging over here behind me. And it has the price written on it. It's a thrift store price. You know, they write the prices on it in grease pencil. And I left it on there. It says $2.98. And then it's marked through. And it says $1.98. So, I mean, that's what people were paying for things at that time. And the same thing was happening to vintage arcade games, because there was this era where and this was in the 90s, where, you know, the big full giant arcades were dying. They were dead really by that point. They couldn't afford the rent, and they couldn't yeah, man, it was a great time. Especially if you were a guy like me that, you know, I had bought certain things over the years, but there was a lot I hadn't bought, you know, and I was just stocking up on Commodore 64 floppy drives. And there was a summer that I decided I was going to buy every Sega Genesis I could find that was $5 or less. And I think I stopped at 12. I was like, what am I going to do with a dozen Sega Genesis consoles? Which, I mean, the worst thing about owning more than one Sega Genesis console is, what's the plural of Genesis? Like, are you going to say I own 12 Sega Genesis? Genesis? So you have to say Sega Genesis consoles, which is a dumb thing to even say. So, I mean, it was a time where all this stuff was just going crazy. Yeah, Genesis. Well, you have to add an ES for every one that you had. So, I mean, when I had 3, it was a Genesis. And by the time I had 12, it took 5 minutes to say the word. So arcade auctions were doing the same thing. So if you had a really popular vintage cabinet, we're talking Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, maybe Frogger, I don't know. I mean, but there's a dozen. Those things were worth a lot of money. And when I say a lot, it's still relative for the era, you know, but $400 or $500, maybe more, $400 or $500. On the other side, you had machines that were still making money. So this would have been anything that was brand new that you could still put on a location. But everything in that middle was literally worthless, and they were dumping them like crazy. They didn't want to store them. They couldn't make money. You know, if you figure like an arcade has a certain amount of square foot, and then you could divide up what your rent is. And so every machine has to make, you know, bring in whatever percentage of the rent is, you know. And so these old games, these mid to late 80s games that people weren't nostalgic about and weren't big draws, they had to go. They were taking up floor space and they weren't pulling their weight. And so I went to my very first arcade auction. I registered for a number, and I went and I stood right in front of the auctioneer. I mean, I just stood there staring at him, you know. And they auctioned a few games, and I didn't even know how much arcade games were going to go for. I didn't know anything about it. I literally saw that this auction was advertised in a newspaper that they were going to have one. So I went down, and of course, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, you know, they were going for several $100, $400 or $500. And that was more money than I had brought with me. And so then we get to, and they have these lined up in a warehouse. I mean, there's, you know, 50 games to a row, and there's 10 rows of machine. This auction took, you know, 5-6 hours to go through. So if there was something specific that you wanted and it wasn't an A+ game, there was a pretty good chance you could get a good deal on it, right? So I go and I'm standing by this machine, and it's Mania. And the auctioneer comes over and he says, all right, this is Mania, blah, blah. This is a great wrestling game, 1985 Taito. Who'll start the bidding at $500 or something? And I was like this cabinet was not good. I didn't know at the time, I didn't know that much about arcade cabinets. I didn't know hardly anything, but it was actually in a gyrus cabinet. So it's not an original cabinet. The plastic bezel around the monitor was missing. It did have the marquee. So, you know, I mean, it was a working game, but it was not original. There was not a lot, you know, didn't have a whole lot going for it other than the fact that it was on. And I was like, $500, you know. And then the guy says, and nobody bids. It's just silence, you know. And then he says, all right, let's start the bidding at $200. And I'm like, man, I really did want it, but I thought, that's a lot of money, you know. At this time, I was making like $10 an hour or something. I'm like, $200 $200 is a lot of money for a cabinet, you know. And nobody bids. And then he says, who will start it off at $100? And I'm like, God, $100, I might buy it. But nobody bids. And now I'm like waiting to see what happens. And he says, who will start the bidding at $25? I mean, I'm there in the front row. I'm like, and the guy says, $25, going once, going twice, sold before the man could change his mind. And they moved on. But so my dad was with me at the auction, and I didn't like wave the card around. I was like all cool. I like held it up, you know, to my chest like that, you know. And so I turn around because I told my dad that I was interested in this game, and my dad goes, that game, somebody just bought that game for $25. And I go, it was me. I mean, all these adult men are looking at me. I was like, I did it, you know. So let me go over here. This is my Mania cabinet. Now, this is a really, really bad. I mean, this picture was taken in, let's see. I lived in this house in 94. So this would have been a, actually, I had this is a still from a home movie. So this is a home movie that was shot on a camcorder. And then I took a digital shot from that, you know. But as you can see here, it is Mania. You can see the game in here. The bezel, of course, is missing. The plastic that goes around all the way around here is not there. So I did not have the glass or the plastic bezel. It did have a control panel. And of course, you got the Mania marquee in the game. So, I mean, for $25, it wasn't bad. You know what I mean? And this was really what started the collection. I mean, you know, again, the first game I got was Elevator Action, and Jeff, who's in the channel tonight, and everybody should give a shout out to Steel Rat, because I mean, there's so many of my stories that start off with, you know, my buddy Jeff. And if it weren't for Jeff, half these stories would have never happened. So we had found a Elevator Action game for sale in the newspaper. I think it was $200. It might have been $150, but I didn't have the money. And Jeff said he would split it for me. Oh man, I missed it because I was on the wrong screen. Oh, hey, new follower. Hello. So, basically, we bought this game. I was living in a mobile home, and we moved this cabinet into my trailer, and we put it in the dining room. And so that was our big, I mean, that was it. And I thought, hey, I have an arcade game. I have one arcade game. And when I went to this auction and I bought this Mania machine, that was the second machine. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden it was, I'm not a guy that owns a machine. I'm a guy that owns multiple machines. And so this was really, you know, the first game was I own a game, but this was the game that really started me collecting. And then over the years, I've owned over 100 different arcade cabinets, and bought and sold. Yes, my wife was a big fan. We put Elevator Action in the corner of the dining room, and I put a plant on top of it and tried to hide it. But it turns out that she noticed. I was like, maybe she won't notice this 200-pound chunk of wood in the corner of the dining room. But it turns out also our dining room was like, you know, 10 foot by 10 foot. She noticed. But what you gonna do? You know, I can't be doing dumb stunts like I can't be, well, I shouldn't be chewing ice when I'm on the air either. Oh, habits. Oh. Yeah, that did. It was Jeff says that it kept the trailer from shifting in windstorms. It definitely, it wouldn't surprise me if it weakened the floor in that area. Oh, man. Come on. This is silly. Let's throw him by the rope. Let's trap him over here. Let's get in some shots. There's Bruce Lee, if you look up there next to Darth Vader. If you time that just a little bit later, you can get him after the dunk. Oops. Well, bad news for you, warrior. I didn't get to jump off the turnbuckle. I think someone told me one time that next to ZZ Top, I think that guy with the brown hair and the open shirt, I think that's somebody from ELO. I don't know. I have to go look it up. But so the first game, like I said, was Elevator Action, which was a great game. I love Elevator Action. Of course, if you only own one game, you eventually get tired of it, you know. And then this was the second game that I owned. Yeah, I think it is supposed to be Jeff Lynne, I think. Then let's see. Then I went to another auction and I bought a bunch of machines because then I was like, you know what it was? The difference was it's like every there's always an evolution, you know. And so there was the first stay down. You know, like, okay, well, first I found out, oh, you can buy a machine in the newspaper. So I did that. And then the second one was, oh, they have auctions and you could buy a machine at an auction for a really good deal. And you could do that. And then my dad bought a trailer for his truck. And I found out that auctions took credit cards. And after that, it was all over. So I had this house. This is a kooky story. I won't tell you the whole story, but this house that we ended up living in was over 100 years old, and it had been segmented up into multiple apartments. So even though it was one house, and we lived in the house, there were 4 bathrooms, there were 4 living rooms, there were 4 dining rooms. It was just a very strange layout. It was a big, giant, old house that someone had bought and divided into apartments for. Come on, Coco, don't be so savage, Coco. And so we, yes, that's true. There was moving arcade games is not fun. And let me tell you this: if you ever want to find out who your friends are, I mean your real friends in life. Tell them that you're moving and that you own 30 arcade cabinets that you need to get into storage. And Jeff is one of the 2 people that showed up to help. So, and I would have given him any one of those machines for all his assistance. Come on, Coco. Let's go over this way and do the same thing. Come on. I'm going to run out of time here in a minute. Oh, he's going to pin me. No, come on. Let's end this. It's getting serious. Hooray! So, I ended up with I know, man. The Piranha. Look out. Here comes the Piranha. Let's see. So then after that, when I just started buying games like crazy, I bought Shinobi, which is one of my top 5 games of all time. And Shinobi is where I learned about Sega's suicide batteries. And now I only paid, I think, $25 for my Shinobi cabinet. But when I got it home, I found out the game didn't have sound. Nope. Reversal. Oh, the old punch, punch, punch. Come on now, Piranha. Oh, boy. Missed him. And so anyway, at the auction, I also learned at this auction to never trust an auctioneer. And they told me that the sound had been working earlier that day, but it had not be something was wrong and the sound had just stopped. Well, later on when I got it home and I found out about suicide batteries, I learned a couple things. And one of them is, especially on Shinobi in particular, is that when the battery starts leaking, because the way that the board is designed, the battery acid leaks onto the sound chips. So, number one, the sound had not been working earlier that day. That was a BS story. You know, it's buyer beware. I'll tell you a funny story. I went to an auction one time and I saw a Frogger cabinet for sale. And, oh no, come on, Hulk. Oh, that's bad on my part. I saw this Frogger machine for sale. Oh, that was, wow, that was a cool move. Yeah, so I'll talk about recovering suicide boards in a minute here, but there we go. Well, I got more important stuff on my mind right now. I got to beat up the Hulk. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. All right, need one more round, and then let's take this dude out. And then let's bring home... Oh, no, it's not good. Oh, shoulder throws here. Come on now. Is it too early? It's pretty early. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Let's give him a little bit more working over here. Oh, it's time to steal. It's time to loot. It's time to rob. Taste my boot. I'll throw out a little dead milkman for you. Oh no! Don't throw me out of the don't throw me out of the ring. I know that's what you want to do. No! Oh no! Things just got serious. When that music changes, you got problems. Oh, reversal! No! 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 Oh, I thought I was dead. All right, come on now. Oh. Anyway, let me tell this Frogger story real quick. Hang on, I'm going to pause this so I can concentrate. So I went to this auction and I saw a Frogger cabinet and I was like, I wouldn't mind having a Frogger. And I walked around. Oh, Mr. Moon Pie. I see Mr. Moon Pie coming up in the chat. We always got to talk about Mr. Moon Pie. And so I looked around at the back of this Frogger because I looked and it wasn't powered on, you know. And I looked at the back of this Frogger machine and it was completely empty. There was nothing in it. It was literally just a hollow cabinet. No power supply, no board, no monitor, no nothing. I mean, it is a piece of wood that used to be a Frogger machine. During the auction, the auctioneer comes by and they don't want people playing all the games during the auction. So at one point he says, hey, somebody turn on that Frogger machine. And a guy goes around and he goes, it's not doing anything. Well, it's not doing anything because I've already looked at it and it's hollow, you know. And the guy goes, well, it was working earlier. So, you know, buy as is, where is, or whatever. And I'm like, working earlier? Like, I mean, it would take a stack of miracles for this thing to have been working earlier without a power supply or a motherboard or a monitor. That game was not working earlier. And that's when I learned that the auctioneers will say, and they can say anything they want. At the end of the day, you're buying it as it is, where it is. You move it out, you pay the money, and it's yours. So anyway, real quick about Sega suicide boards, suicide batteries, this whole thing. So there was an issue that arcade companies had, whether it was real or perceived, I don't really know. But what they were afraid of was that people would take their code and dump it and either make pirate boards, which I'm sure happened, or disassemble their games, right? And so what they did was they started encrypting not all of the code on the board, but just encrypting part of the code on one chip. So they would put it on that chip. So if you were trying to look at their data, you know, you wouldn't be able to read, you know, reverse engineer it. But the decryption part of the whole system, I guess, ran off of a little chip that was backed up and ran off of a battery. So as long as the battery was good, that chip would be decrypted and the game would play. If you pulled that chip off, now there's nothing decrypting it. So now it's encrypted and you couldn't put it in, some sort of EEPROM or PROM reader and be able to get the code or something. So the gist of it was it protected it and the game ran as long as it was, everything was working as planned. Now, the thing was that like companies like Taito did not envision that people would own these machines for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. The idea was that you would have the machine, you'd have it on a location for a couple of years, and then you would upgrade to another machine or switch out the board to something else or whatever. So the idea of this battery not lasting for a decade or 2 decades was not really on their mind. So this hardware all of a sudden has a specific lifespan. So that's what's happened over the time. Now, when you say, can it be recovered? Yes, because, and Aaron's right, it did take a long time. But eventually what happened is people cracked the encryption, and now you can get the code that goes on that chip that's not encrypted. So if the board dies, if the battery died or you remove the battery, the game won't work because the chip's encrypted and you can't run the game. But what you could do essentially is take that chip off and the battery system, and you could burn a new EEPROM and put it on the board with the unencrypted code, and then the game would work. That's the way I understand everything. Now, that's also assuming that the battery acid damage didn't tear up any important traces or anything. So it's definitely a gamble, and it's an unfortunate thing that they did. Obviously, they weren't thinking about long-term preservation when it came to some of these games. So it was get them on site and get them to work for a short time, and then once that was done, move them in and move them out. Now, Aaron, I see in the chat that you use the Mr. Moonpie emote, and I don't know if you were on the other night when he made his debut, but Mr. Moonpie, and I know that you've read Commodore, my first book about running a BBS and doing all that, but Mr. Moonpie was my pretend co-sysop, so he would have to do all the dirty work on my BBS that I didn't want to do. He was my strong arm. Now, when Jeff says in the chat that we've restored or repaired traces, anything that he says about repairs, what he means is that he did, because we've had pretty much an understanding, I think, since we were teenagers, is that he would do the work and I would fund the project. Not that I was a kid of means or anything like that. I was, we were definitely, lower middle class at best. So it's not like I had money to be thrown around or whatever. But the thing was that Jeff had gone to Votech for electronic engineering, and he knew his way around with a soldering gun and stuff. And I didn't know any of that, but I was, willing to take a chance and buy stuff. And I heard, Jeff repaired a remote control to a TV one time. I'll say sorta. Most of the buttons work. Some of the buttons work. Yeah. So there were Jeff's dad had a whole bunch of power tools, and our other friend, we had another friend, Andy, a common friend, who had a bunch of power tools. So there were a lot of times where, I would show up at one or both of their houses and be like, "Hey, I just bought these Chinese no-name brand subwoofers. You think we can build a subwoofer box and get these into the back of a Yugo?" And they'd be like, "We're on it." And so that was kind of I think I was the instigator of a lot of crazy projects. Now, I will tell you, one of the cabinets that I bought at those early auctions was a Championship Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 2. It definitely had a pirated marquee. Oh no, I should have stayed with 2. All right, let's take care of old Karate Warrior. Oh man, I forgot what story I was telling. Yeah, that is true. We Jeff said the windshield cracked. We did put 4 Crunch 15 speakers in the back of my Festiva, along with a Punch 150 amp, I think. I don't know, something like that. And it had a I'm still the champion. I forgot that I'm the champion. There ain't no screwing around here, folks. Why are you trying to distract me with all your talking? You can't be talking while the champion is working here. Is that... Oh, come on, Coco. So what do? You do the forearm smash with this guy, Aaron? Boom. Oh, come on. If you... I feel like asking politely, like, sir, if you'd stop punching me in the head for a moment, sir. Oh, yeah, I was talking about Street Fighter 2. So whenever I got it home, the joystick did not move in one direction. And it needed, the switch was either, I don't remember if the micro switch was missing or bad. It was one or the other. And Jeff had a Epix joystick. And of course, this was, you know, kind of after the era of Commodore. There ain't no running and jumping if Coco takes me out here. Oh, the old earbox. Oh, no. Let's not get crazy here. Come on, Coco. There we go. And so, yes, Retro's Gaming. Not only, so let me finish this. Boy, I'm bad at the multitasking. So Jeff had a old Epix 500 XJ joystick, and he said they had micro switches in it, and we could just take one out of that joystick and put it in the arcade cabinet. And so that is exactly what we did. I say we, again, he took this joystick apart and took this. To me, it was all magic. I was like, I don't know how this works. He took the switch out and put it in the cabinet, and after that, it worked. So, yes, not only, I mean, if you want to talk about a story that has all the pieces here, again, this is the cabinet, or no, this isn't the cabinet. I do have a picture of the cabinet. I can find a picture of the cabinet. But hang on, I will find a picture of the cabinet. It doesn't matter. You know what? Let's look. Championship. I'm in the folder because I just pulled up the other picture. Actually, it'll be Street Fighter 2. Fortunately, everything is named in about 4 different naming standards. One of these nights, we're going to do a stream, and I'm just going to go through all my old arcade cabinets, and we will have a big show and tell. There's Star Wars. There's Street Fighter 2. Okay, let's open with photos. Again, these are not great quality digital pictures based on the era. Let's see here. This is the championship Street Fighter. Look at that marquee. I'm sure you went to arcades and saw those, and you're like, yeah, that guy wasn't paying. Look at that bezel around that cabinet. Oh, yeah, the Epix joysticks were, I mean, they were always a little bit more than regular joysticks because just their quality. But, yeah, nobody, you know, I mean, the need for a DB9 joystick was, you know, not really there anymore, you know. So, anyway, just to bring this story full circle, this is literally the cabinet that was fixed, and Steel Rat 666 in the chat is Jeff, and he's the guy that fixed it. So there you go. That's other than actually still having the cabinet, that's as close as I could come to bringing that story full circle. And I have, if you want to bring it even more full circle, here's an X100. Here's an Epix stick. Although, oh, Golden Hulk. Oh boy. I don't know why this game needs music. Yeah, those generic marquees. You know, I did a deal one time with a local guy that I used to buy and sell games from, and I had a cabinet, and I was trying to. It was actually an empty. It was an empty Nintendo cabinet, and he wanted it, and I didn't have a use for it. We were trying to figure out, you know, what a good price or a trade or something was, and I ended up trading him for like 50 arcade marquees, maybe more, maybe less. I mean, I think it might have even been more. And there were some dupes in there and stuff. And they weren't all classics, but some of them were classics. I mean, I remember like there was a Defender in there, and there was a Rampart in there. Golden Hawk, you dummy. Oh, look who's even dumber. I just ran out after him. And I've still got some of those. You know, what I want to do is build, I'm sure you guys have seen them, those shadow boxes for arcade. Hey, Jeff, I'm calling you, Jeff. I'll buy the wood. You know what? That's it. Jeff has made reference to a Post-it note, and I will tell you, I should have showed it to you last time you were here, but the Post-it note is literally right over my desk. Anyway, yeah, the arcade marquee deal was, it worked out okay. I came out financially ahead. I sold, I went to Oklahoma Video Game Expo, and I sold those, all those marquees for like $10 each. I kept, a dozen or so. I've got a marquee for, what was that game called? What's the Sega game that was a skateboarding game? The big giant one where you stood on a plastic skate, like Top Skater. Is that what it is? Something like that. And I've got one of those marquees. I've got a few of those, yeah. Aaron says he had a Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition board that a rat lived on. Hey, Aaron, didn't you guys, when you talked about this, isn't the world record of this, like, the score is just maxed out? I think at this point, like, I don't know if it's 999, is it 6 nines or something, or 7, or maybe it's 7 nines, I don't remember. Yeah, see, there we go. That's the mash I was looking for. But once you learn the patterns in this game, the only thing that will get you is if, you know, there's a couple of the fighters like Coco Savage, man, once you get to the higher levels. Oh, that was kind of a little late on my part. Reversal. I know that, so that's the thing is, you know, when it comes to owning arcade games, there is definitely a difference between playing arcade games in the arcade and playing them at home. And I'll give you a great example is I owned a Gauntlet cabinet. And Gauntlet is one of the greatest games, greatest arcade games. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, actually I was with Jeff whenever we first saw Gauntlet for the first time. And of course it's a quarter eater, so you could just play any Cinecaster. Yeah, I've done the same thing on this game. Is really, usually it's not like once you get into the groove, it's not how long or that you're going to get killed. It's like, I got to go to work in 6 hours or whatever, you know, something like that. Well, all right, hold on, let's get this guy. There we go. Now, see, watch, he'll duck for a second. Oh, yeah, and then if you just time that a little bit late, you could get that guy. If somebody wants to pull up the list of people that are in the audience, we could try to find some of those people, point them out. There's one that, I don't know who it's like. I think there's one that's like, it's supposed to be Nitz or Ebb or something like that. Which, I mean, how would you recognize Nitz or Ebb? I mean, especially when the other ones are so iconic, like I mean, Darth Vader, everybody's going to recognize, you know? I don't know why you would put somebody... Oh, no. Alright, let's take care of this dude. He's a little too far to jump on. Let's get him a little closer. Come on. There we go. But anyway, so, back to Gauntlet. In the arcade, you know, I mean, you're a kid, you got $2 or $3 worth of quarters, you go play Gauntlet, you feed it quarters, and then eventually the game's over because you run out of money. So that it's that experience, right? When you own Gauntlet at home, and you can pump in as many free, you know, credits, you know, you pull up Gauntlet and you're like, okay, let's play. And the very first thing you do is you put in and you add, you know, $20 worth of credits or 40. You know, I used to joke and say, like, you know, at Gauntlet in the arcade was limited to how much money you had. And then by the time I owned my own Gauntlet cabinet, Gauntlet was limited to like how long I could stand as an old man, you know. You know what I mean? Like you know, there was just no limitation. And so it's just one of those things where the experience is different. Oh boy. Yeah, I agree with you that Cinecaster said that the key to this game is to not get bored and start doing fancy things. And that's like a lot of things. You know, I just watched Billy Mitchell do his stream where he was going to play the perfect game of Pac-Man. And he did just play another perfect game of Pac-Man recently. And, you know, to play a perfect game of Pac-Man is it's all pattern-based. It's literally all it is you just have to do your little pattern, and then once your pattern's done, you group your ghosts and you do your thing. And I'm talking about it like I can do it. I can't. I'm terrible at Pac-Man. Pac-Man's literally a game that everybody should be great at, and I'm not. $20 for the first time of Gauntlet. Oh, I'm not even paying attention to my game. That sounds about right. I mean, I remember we played it a long time. But so the point of the Gauntlet story is that, you know, there's just certain things that the experience is different. Oh, this is my 13th game. Coco Savage is going to start getting hard, and I'm going to really pay attention here. And so, you know, one of the things is, like, if you think about a game like Q*bert is a good example. Q*bert is a great arcade game, and everybody loves Q*bert. And so when you have, you go to an arcade, the cool thing about Q*bert is, you know, everybody can play for 10 or, you know, let's say 10 minutes or whatever. Hey, Ricky, what's going on, my friend? How are you? We're just, right now I'm getting beat up by a Savage. Coco Savage. Do you have any, Aaron, do you have any better way to get out of that than them doing the flying thing? That's the way I usually get out of it. But, well, Ricky, we've, hey, Darren, how you doing, my friend? We had a snowstorm over the past couple of days. Not anything that would impress anybody that lives in Canada, but we've yeah, flying crossbody. That's what I do too. Oh boy, come on, Savage. We got Sunday night. Oh, what am I doing here? Come on now. Now I gotta focus. Michael Bolton, we're gonna need you to focus up. Alright, let's get up here. Come up here, my friend. I want to show you a little Coco Savage. Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Yeah, you know, I used to use the shoulder block, and then I just got into the habit of doing the kick thing. Just because you could get that extra kick in like that. A foot or a foot and a half. We got a light dusting on Sunday, and then we got 4 to 6 inches, they said, on Monday, which is not bad for Oklahoma. We haven't had that much snow in a long time. It's been a few years since we've had a really good snowfall. And I was joking on social media. I was like, oh no, they're going to close the schools, which is funny because the schools have been closed since March. Come on. Oh no, wasn't paying attention. So this is, you know, like I said, the key to this game, well, you know, so it's funny that you say no snow days because I've also been working from home essentially since, oh, I thought I threw him. I was not paying attention. Aaron, I'm going to have to work on the, get back into doing the arm bar. Is it too early? It is too early. Look at me flopping. I like how, again, this is one of my funny pet peeves is like people in video games doing things they wouldn't do in real life. Like if you're in a wrestling match and you got on a turnbuckle and the guy wasn't there, you would just jump off on your face and be like, oh, well. But this is works on that same premise that Double Dragon works on, which is it's a 2D game presented in a 3D space. And so based on that, you know, by moving up or down, you can get around these guys. There we go. Last time you were in the office was 9 months ago today. I have been going in on Wednesdays, and I go into a room that normally holds 50 to 75 people. And 15th game, I thought I just did the 15th. I guess it was 14th. And there's 2 people in the room, me and my boss. And so she sits in a corner office, which is nowhere near me. And we really don't see each other during the day. But then at lunch, we go to lunch together. And we go to this place. We just went there today. And they have bar stools at the bar. It's a good place for a bar stool. And every 2 seats, first of all, we go really early. So it turns out not a lot of people go and sit at the bar to eat lunch. And, oh, now I'm getting the old, yeah. This is, like I said, this is where Coco gets dangerous. Let's get out of this. Let's reset here, Coco. Let's talk about things. Oh boy. So they've at the bar they've added plexiglass between every 2 seats. So we go there, and again, there's not many people there anyway. But there's nobody at the bar. Oh no! I don't like when that music changes. That's when I get in trouble. I know. Yeah, that's bad news. Wasn't paying attention. I can't, you know, the thing is that, I mean, once you get in this state, like I don't even have control. I haven't had control in over a minute. So I can't get up. I can't move. He's going to leave me out here to die and outside of the ring. 18. Yeah. Oh, look at that. I got 1 foot of the ring. That shouldn't count. That shouldn't count. Man. Dookie. Oh, at least I got the closing credits here. Man, I had a foot in. That's not fair. You know what the problem is? I'll tell you the problem, my friends. He's coming back for another round. I wonder if I could, kind of really, it's like, could I put these in the mask? No. Alright. He's gonna go. It's not that I can't see the game without him, it's that I can't read the text and the, oh, look at that score. You know what? Why am I putting this in? That's silly. Remember when MAME had the high score hack? I'm not, why am I going to this? I just, what the... Oh, look at that. I just want to end it. I just want to end it, everyone.